I'm SSI Web/Senior Editor Steve Caranzalidis, and welcome to Security Speaking, the SSI podcast. One component of running a business that can be overlooked is having an effective business software solution, especially one that is tailored specifically for your industry. For example, security integrators can have hundreds, if not thousands, of pieces of equipment on hand. That means they need software that is able to effectively keep track of those parts and where they are, whether that be in the warehouse, on a truck, or at a job site. To get a better understanding of asset and inventory management, I spoke to Simpro's Param Singh, who laid out what integrators should look for in an inventory tool, how tracking assets can benefit organizations, and much more.
Be sure to subscribe to SSI's YouTube channel. Hit the like button, share, and leave comments. Or subscribe to SSI's Security Speaking podcast on Apple and Spotify. And leave us a review. Thank you.
Being organized is key to being successful. That goes for having a clean work desk, warehouse, work truck, you name it. Having everything in order leads to better efficiency, which leads to more profit, right? So a simple solution that can assist security integrators with this is software, specifically one that can handle both asset tracking and inventory. To discuss this topic with us today is Simpro's Param Singh. How you doing, Param?
Doing well, Steve. Thank you for having me. Excited to talk about some inventory today.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. How about we start off by quickly introducing yourself and Simpro?
Absolutely. So I'm an account executive at Simpro. My job is to meet with clients, prospects, and talk to them about their business, the way it's structured, what they see as potential areas for improvement, and where a software like Simpro can come in and help. We are an end-to-end field management software, everything from that initial request, tracking your customers, the lead, the sales pipeline, to actually completing a job, being in the field, getting all the information from the technicians, and getting it back in the office so you can bill the client correctly, manage your inventory, which we'll talk about today, and get a good, accurate view of the business and how you're performing.
Awesome. So let's get into it. How do you define inventory tracking, and what exactly does that entail?
Good question. So inventory tracking is simply knowing what inventory, what parts you have on hand, what the value is. And it sounds simple, but there's a lot of moving pieces to it. You have your warehouse, all the small parts that you have in there. You have all of your trucks, and then you have all of these different people that get involved, and now things are moving around. You have new jobs that are coming in where you need to know what inventory is required. You have ongoing jobs and ongoing projects that you need to know exactly what you have on hand, what's been staged for them, what's on, order. So inventory is really about having a good view over what parts do we need, what parts do we have, how much are they worth, and how are they moving in and out. Inventory, if we look at it, is probably the second biggest expense in a business except for the labor. And right. I can't tell you how many times I talk to people that are like, I have no idea what we have. They have no idea what's walking in and out the door. They're just finding a way to pay for it, to complete their jobs, but now that's affecting your job costing and your profit. So inventory tracking is knowing exactly the parts you have and how much they're worth.
That's so important these days. The last year with supply chain issues, like every part in the warehouse counts. You can't be misplacing anything because the customer might need it.
Yeah, and so, that could slow down your timelines. I mean, that could cause a really big impact for your business, especially after COVID.
Right.
I had many people tell me they were ordering millions of dollars worth of inventory at once just because they didn't want to be in a situation where they couldn't complete a job. Right? You lose out on a bid because you don't think you can get it, or you're having to wait months to complete a job, and now your customer's upset. They think poorly of your business. I mean, it can really impact you down the road.
Exactly. So you just mentioned a few things, but what are some more examples of how tracking assets can benefit a company?
Tracking assets or tracking?
Or how tracking assets benefits an organization.
Question. So think of an asset, or at least in Simpro's world, an asset is what inventory becomes after you install it at a client's location. Right? Inventory is what we have on hand, but once we go into the actual installation, once we go into a service, and we put a camera, for example, or an NVR at a location, as a business, we want to know that. And all the time, people say they would love to track that. But of course, that involves more work, right? Someone is now responsible for knowing, hey, here's the serial number, here's the date of install or the make and model of this equipment. That's a lot. It sounds simple, but when you're already doing 1,000 other things every day, now knowing that and tracking that as an asset becomes an additional step. And most often, it's not being done. But the businesses that do have that information, they know when their client calls in what the issue is, right? They know exactly the piece of equipment they're talking about. They can provide a better service to their client. And if they have to do it off-site remotely, they can now have all the information, the login details to the equipment and get it done. Or if you know what equipment your clients have, you can pull a report to see, hey, which of our clients are ready for an upgrade? Who can we now go out and give a ring to, knock on their door and say, hey, you guys have some pretty old cameras. There's been a lot of improvements in the market. I think you're ready to, provide more security for your home, for your business. And now you have a new revenue stream, right? You can go out there and search for business instead of waiting for it to come to you.
So what should security integrators look for in an inventory tool?
It has to be easy to use. If you look at it, there's companies that have only 1 or 2 people in the office. You have a small business, and there's not anybody really dedicated to a warehouse. That is still a lot of moving pieces. You have different people coming in, picking up material for a job. You have people in the field that are using inventory, and all of that gets to be a lot. Most of the time, it could be in Excel or on a piece of paper where you're writing, hey, here's what I used today. And now we have to figure out so we can build a client accurately. On the flip side, there's a lot of bigger companies that will have dedicated people in the warehouse who are responsible for managing all the material, what needs to be ordered, what needs to be staged, what needs to be replenished. But that's a lot of work to do. And if you don't have an easy to use system, it doesn't matter what features it has, they're not going to use it, right? If you're putting this much pressure on your team, and inventory is a big deal, companies should focus on it. But if you're not going to provide them an easy to use system, over time, they're going to use it less, and they're going to fall back to their old methods. You're going to start missing things, and then you're going to start seeing parts walking out the warehouse, right? There's that money that you're just losing because things aren't just being tracked properly.
Yeah, ease of use is definitely important. I don't remember the exact number, but SSI just published its software deep dive. And, there's a surprising amount of integrators who have ditched their software after only a few years because, like you said, they don't know how to use it, they're not using it efficiently, and then they just fall off of it. So that's definitely important.
Yeah, it's an exciting time to be a security integrator. I mean, they're installing the best equipment out there. The technology for security has improved drastically. But now you're starting to see softwares like ours be out there in the market and really show that, hey, you have to be a good software, not just a software. Right? Security integrators now have options that they can look and see what is the one that is actually going to deliver, helping us integrate it, right? Helping us get it set up, but also helps the business. Are people come in excited for work because they know that a tool like SimPro is going to make their job easier? They're not going to have to be worried about it going down or not getting the support that they need. People should always be willing to look out and see what else is available.
All right. So looking specifically at SimPro, we've been talking about assets and inventory. And what does an asset mean in SimPro? Is that inventory?
No, so the asset is what I've mentioned earlier. That is a piece of equipment that gets installed at a client. So the asset is something that's going to provide, one, more visibility over your customers, what equipment they have on site. You can use it to market to them. You can use it to provide better service and fix the issues that they have. You can also use it for RMR, right? Go ahead and put them on a maintenance plan. Go ahead and put them on some kind of reoccurring testing to start generating reoccurring revenue for your business.
And how does SimPro software help to manage inventory and assets?
Good question. So The big overarching thing I mentioned earlier is we're an end-to-end. And if you're looking at a software, the goal should always be make it easy to use. If you start throwing in different programs, different, paper, Excel, phone calls, WhatsApp, that it becomes a lot. You have to move things around. You have to hope that everyone's doing their job and the data is accurate. SimPro, we want to be that all-in-one. And when we look at inventory, SimPro is going to give you full visibility over what you have on hand in your warehouse, what's on all of your trucks, and it's going to give you an easy place to be able to order your inventory for your jobs, what's required for everything that you have coming up, cut out those purchase orders, send them to your vendors, receive them, track what is located where, put in some minimum levels so you know exactly when you need to replenish it. And then you can watch it just transfer from warehouse to truck, get it when the technician adds it into a work order. That way you know exactly what's being used, exactly what you need to be billing for, and exactly what you need to replenish. That way you're not dealing with delays, right? An easy to use software that makes it possible for your whole team to track their portion of inventory. That way as a business, you know exactly where you stand. And when we're talking about assets, again, if you're having to do this somewhere else after an install, it's a lot of additional work. Most of the time, you're not going to do it. With SimPro, when you build in that list of parts, your inventory, you can actually choose to have SimPro remind you and say, hey, this right here is an asset. Anytime we install this, I want you to remind me to go ahead and collect serial number, where we're installing it at their property, the make and model. The information you want to collect is up to you, but now SimPro is going to remind your team to make sure that they're being consistent and recording this information. So now you can have that leverage to provide, again, that better service or to help market to your clients or build in that RMR.
Great. Do you have any other specific examples of how the software helps manage inventory and assets, maybe some use cases or customer success stories?
Yeah, we actually have a client in Indiana. Right after they brought SimPro in, of course, inventory is not an easy thing to manage. I've kind of said that a couple of times now, so it does take time. But after they got it up and running, they built out their inventory list. They knew what they had on hand, what was being used. That first month, they saw a $5,000 increase simply because they knew when parts were walking out the door and everything was being tracked. So they had a real value. They knew that they were billing their clients correctly. It wasn't just an increase in business, but they knew exactly their inventory value, and now it's being tracked properly. So just saw a huge bump up in their revenue for the month.
That's great. Is there anything else you want to mention that we haven't gone over?
No, I don't think so. Again, I'd always recommend people look at programs. Software is now in a place where it's meant to help your business, to help it grow, really enable owners and managers to work on the business rather than having to work in the business. That is the goal as an owner. So look out and see what's available to help you guys do that. What can make you more efficient, get you home sooner, spend more time with the family, and give you or give you the tools to help you achieve your goals. SimPro is a great option for that. If you would love to, please, or if you would like, please reach out to us. Happy to set up a demo to walk you through how we can help with inventory, with asset tracking, and really a full end-to-end to manage your jobs and your projects as well.
Sounds good to me. Where should listeners go if they want to learn more or reach out to you?
simpro.us. Go to our website. You can request a demo from there. My email will also be on the bottom here. Feel free to reach out to me at param.singh@simpro.us. Would love to talk to you and see if there's any way that SimPro can potentially help you guys out, especially for the coming new year.
Awesome. Sounds good. Well, thank you, Param, for taking the time to talk with us today on Security Speaking.
Absolutely. Thank you, Steve. Have a good day.
Thanks. You too.